So I think in order to be a director, you kind of have to be a type A kind of person where you have a vision, assertive, particular, stubborn, because when you have a vision and you have a team working with you, you want to get that vision like set. Like you can delegate it and take on other people's opinions and stuff, but when it comes to like the actual vision, like finalized thing, it's in your mind and there's no way you can escape it because you believe in it so heavily. So we're both those type of people. The trick is beforehand, before starting a project, we come to terms that it's a group thing. But even during that project, it's it's a process of just being aware that we have to work with each other on that.
Because in a normal production, you have like a rank and file hierarchy of positions. And we didn't really have that. We're both kind of just like type A personalities when it comes to directing, and there was no delegation on our part. We both wanted to just make a video.
Yeah, but we're both very mature and chill,
Sometimes.
and I would say kind of wise to the fact that we didn't need to talk about that because we understood that we're both just like understanding of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had like a brief conversation, but I wasn't too worried about it. Like, I didn't think like our egos would clash.
I think we were passionate about having a finalized project rather than our name being on top of it.
But I think it's very easy if, like, in a lot of cases, you don't establish everybody's role in the production. It can get pretty messy, especially when it comes time to like assigning credits. Because like that last video we did with Bolt 24, like if someone says like, well, who directed that? Who was a DP? I mean, we both kind of directed it. We both kind of took on that role. We both lit it. We both operated the camera. But without that kind of like rank and file hierarchy, it can be pretty tough to make decisions when there's conflicting ideas.
Yeah.
Like if I have one way of doing it and you have another, if I was a director, I would just be like, well, we're doing it my way and that's the highway. Like,
yeah.
But that wasn't really the case with this project. So I think it was kind of an exercise
definitely
in navigating each other's egos.
Personally, I know my downfalls, which comes into like creative writing and stuff. It's hard for me to spark ideas. Once an idea starts going, I can start flowing off of it. So Chris is great with fucking creative copywriting and writing and just getting ideas going and everything. He's like insanely like talented when it comes to that. And then like when it came on set, if there was any times where like things were kind of halting and there needed to be more directing, I've been doing photography for like 10 years and I'm used to like directing models and newer models and stuff. And so I would kind of like step in and be like, oh, let's stop everything real quick and just reset.
You have a very quick trigger when it comes to making decisions. Like we had about at most 2 hours of daylight on that shoot. So we had to make the most out of the time. So you were very good. Like if we couldn't get the setup that we wanted, you were like, all right, we're doing it this way now. Like, and that's a great characteristic to have, because like you definitely need that, because otherwise we would be wasting like 10-15 minutes of precious
time. Well, on the opposite end, Chris is great as for the pre-production. I've done that before on my music videos. I've done shot lists where I wrote it out to the second, to the millisecond. But that's definitely not my strong suit, because I have like ADD and I just kind of like, let's just get out there and let's just fucking do the thing. Yeah. And then Chris kind of slows it down a little bit more. He's like, let's do this. Let's reshot it. He went out and wrote a script. I did a shot list, and then Chris did another one. It was way better than mine. So he's way more detailed on the pre-production end, and on the shoot day end, I'm a little bit more like, okay, well, this isn't working out, so let's just fucking.
Yeah. Well, I feel like when you're more prepared on the pre-production side, you have more flexibility to wing it and to kind of creatively come up with stuff on the fly, because like there were a couple of times that we were stuck, but we were like, let's just look at the shot list, just follow the shot list. And then other times when like some of the stuff in the shot list was like just not gonna happen, you were like, well, let's just do this instead. And, and I was like, all right, let's just do it.
Yeah. Where I lack, Chris picks up. Where Chris lacks, I pick up. And this is the whole point of starting a kind of a production team, I guess, what we're kind of starting here, is no brand hires single shooters or running gunners or freelancers. They're hiring production teams. They're hiring, like, a team is a team for a reason.
They want that reassurance because they're not going to expect you to just show up with your camera and your tripod and to do everything yourself. They want to know that you have the team behind you to execute like their budgets, because they're investing, you know, $20, $30, $40,000 into you. They're not going to trust you to do it by yourself.
Yeah. Just from the beginning, having an understanding that this is a group project, I was able to, again, speak for myself, I was able to kind of tell myself, like, you know what? Like, I had no expectations from it. I was like, we're just going in. I'm gonna step in when I need to, when I don't need to. I trust Chris to do his end. But that's from years of me doing previous stuff kind of like this and having to learn how to control the ego. And no matter who says they don't have ego, fuck you, you have an ego. Totally. As an artist, we're all insecure and we all have egos. And insecurity builds the ego. So it's, if you say you don't have an ego, bullshit, you do. I don't care how nice you are, you got an ego.
And I think this is a helpful thing to remember because, like, look, if this would have been like a paid client shoot and like the client was like hiring me to do it and I was just hiring Cam to like either DP it me,
I would have been zipped.
Like, it would have been a different dynamic. He would have just been kind of like executing my vision. But if you are in a position like we were, where there was no client, where there's no clear leader or someone who's clearly in charge, and you're all just kind of coming together, like you all have your own businesses, your own ideas, and you recognize that there's strength in numbers, then I think it's important to just kind of recognize where everybody's strength lies. When it comes to like, if we're stuck and we've got like 5 seconds to make a decision, like I'm comfortable with just letting him like run it. Whereas like with the diagram, with the shot list, like I already had my lighting set up. When I got to the set, like I set up the lights the way I wanted them, the way
He's very articulate.
So I'm definitely more of on the be prepared kind of guy, I guess.
Yeah, I mean the way I've been making my money is running and gunning. Like I show up on set the night before and they're like, here's the photos of the location, be up at this time and get ready to shoot. And so I've been kind of crafted and shaped and morphed into doing the run and gun stuff. And again, I've done like the pre-planning stuff, but it's still like it bores me a little bit. But I know how important it is. It's super important because if you just go out there and run and gun, you have a giant budget and you don't have like great production value, you're gonna capture garbage.
Yeah, and I think that part comes from my experience as an architectural photographer, because I will show up to a house or a building, you know, a week before I shoot it, and I will walk around it and I will see how the light looks at 3 o'clock versus 6 o'clock versus 8 in the morning. So I have a shot list already planned out for the entire day. Like I know what the light's gonna look like in a specific space, in a specific room, at a specific time, and I know, okay, then I got 15 minutes to get the next shot. So everything is kind of planned out. And then if I'm efficient with my time, then there's room to kind of improvise and get like a couple of shots that aren't in the shot list. But, you know, sometimes shit just doesn't go as planned. Sometimes shit hits the fan, and then you have to be able to think on your feet. And
yeah.
You are definitely really good at that. So.
Well, see, that's why I've been trying to get Chris out on these run and gun shoots. Because I honestly think it's really healthy for a filmmaker, though, to be put in a position where you're just like, I don't know what the fuck to film. And you're forced to figure out ways. So I've been lucky enough to learn on the job. And there's been shoots where I'm just like, I got total garbage here. But you break that down, you get obsessive, you beat yourself up over it. Anyone that says don't beat yourself up over shit, fuck that. Like you need to be hard on yourself so you could get better.
You need to be challenged. Like,
yeah.
The shoot in the desert that we just did with John, I was totally out of my element.
He looked miserable.
I was not miserable. I might have looked miserable because I was frustrated because I have an ego and I hold myself up to a high standard, and I knew for that first hour I was not getting the kind of quality shots that I've come to expect in myself. But after like 30 or 40 minutes, I just ditched the gimbal because I realized like I just couldn't keep up with how fast John was moving with the gimbal. So I just went completely handheld like you were doing. Mm-hmm. And I think after like an hour and a half, I got more comfortable, and I ended up being very happy with the shots I got. But
his edit turned out, you guys haven't seen it yet, but his edit turned out great. I went with like a run and gun type of edit which works. Some brands might want a high pace kind of edit like that, but you went the more documentary type edit. And I think, I want to say more brands value that more.
I think it depends. I actually think both of our edits have value, because I think your edit works really well as like a 30-second ad.
Yeah.
Like if someone's gonna pay for an ad for a brand, I think your edit works really well for that. I think my edit works better for like a long-term permanent fixture on somebody's website or YouTube channel, because it's longer. It's more of like a vanity piece, whereas yours is more like, all right, these people got 20 seconds of attention. It's just like hit them with some high octane shots, stimulate them for 20 seconds. And
so that brings into the whole editing thing. For the Justice video, I pretty much edited all that. It just happened. Sorry.
You just hijacked it.
Yeah, I did. I was like, I'm just gonna break this out real quick. But I'm sure you're gonna do your own version.
Yeah.
Or try at least and just see.
So with that same thought process in mind, what I'm actually doing is I'm doing a longer version that features kind of like the cinematography more, because we got a lot of really good shots that didn't make your edit just for the sake of time. But there's a lot of shots that like feature Justice more, like, you know, highlight his face, his muscles, and I think that might work better for like a longer piece, like again, like on a YouTube channel or something like that. So it's all part of like packaging the branding. Having multiple ways of dividing the stuff you shoot into multiple assets, because that's what brands value. They want to get their most value for their buck. If they're going to pay you $20,000 to shoot video, they want to repurpose that video in as many ways as they can so they can distribute it on multiple channels.
I think this is why we work well together, though, because I've tried teaming with other people before and just like, nah, because they're trying to make calls on shit where I feel confident and very strong about, and it's like, no, that's stupid. Like, why would you do that? No, that's a waste of time. I think we balance each other out where I'm kind of like high octane ADD status on my edits and way I shoot, and Chris is more analytical, and his edits are a little more thought provoking. So there's a place for both of them. I think that's because even after one shoot, like I'll be halfway through a first shoot with somebody, and I'm just like, nah, like I'm never shooting this person again. But Chris and I were like, oh, let's do 20 more shoots. This is working just fine. But I think we kind of, since we're both a little bit headstrong, but in our own visions, I'm sure there's going to be a moment where we start headbutting on stuff. But I think we respect each other enough to where we understand where the balance is coming between the two of those.
Yeah, it's not like personal either.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like we're both mature and we're experienced enough to where if I say, bro, that's a fucking stupid idea, he's not gonna be like, oh, fuck you, like he's calling me stupid. It's like, no, it's just I didn't like that idea kind of thing.
Yeah, we're adults.
Yeah.
And also we're both kind of abrasive with the way we talk to each other. We're kind of cleaning it up a little bit for the camera. But we're normally way more abrasive with each other. So So as long as it's not like personal, like, you know, you develop your own rapport with your team.
Yeah. But at the same time, if it's a stupid idea and he's like, oh, I still want to get it, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Because if he still wants to get it, I know there's some reason that he wants to get it, and so I'm gonna let him get it.
Well, there was that one shot with Justice, which didn't make your cut, but it was when he was tossing the sandbag. You were like, I don't get why you shot these shots.
Yeah.
And when you saw like the brief edit that I did where...
Yeah, it made more sense. And so Christian had this idea where he's like picking up the bag and all that. And for the edit that I had in my mind, I was like, this is way too slow paced, and it kind of slows down the edit, and there's only like 20, 30 seconds of it. And so I just scrapped the whole thing. And then Christian showed me his edit. I was like, oh, that makes way more sense. Like I didn't get his vision on it. But even after that, I still don't think it would have made sense for my version to edit.
Agree. Like I think it would have slowed down the video. We only had 30 seconds for what we originally wanted to do. So I think that's another critical lesson too, is that like there's a phrase in screenwriting, and I guess in editing for film, it's called killing your babies or killing your darlings, where you might fall in love with a shot, you might fall in love with a scene that you've written, but it just doesn't make sense, and no matter how cool it looks or like how witty the dialogue is, it's got to go.
Yeah.
So for this 30-second edit, those shots just had to go. They're going to make it to my edit, but my edit has a different purpose. But I think it's important to just recognize like when something just doesn't work.
Yeah, two things. One, pretty much every like baby shot I had that was like I worshipped it end up getting cut out from every client project for some reason. That always happens.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I think that's another good thing between both of us. Again, Christian's edits are a lot more thought-provoking, which I've always struggled really hard with that. Anytime a client was like, "Oh, we want more story behind it," it's like, how? Like, I didn't shoot any story behind it. But even we're shooting all the same shit, and still Christian's able to put more thought-provoking edits behind it. And that's something that's really great about what we're doing right now is I get to learn off Christian and Christian gets to learn off of me. Collaboration will teach you, like working with a team will start teaching you what you like and what you're good at, kind of.
Yeah.
Definitely when budgets come into it, I think both of us were both mature enough to where like, it's not gonna be like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. It's more, you're good at this, I'm good at that. Let's do that. Let's make this dollar right now. That's what's important. Let's make the best work.
When you do your personal projects like we've been doing, then you can be like, all right, man, you want to try this? Let's try this. Like,
yeah.
We'll
and we already agreed beforehand. Like, if what we're doing right now ends up bringing in a bunch of work, we'll start delegating. Well, this project makes more sense for you to direct, and the other project makes more sense for me to direct, like back and forth.
Like, you might DP one shoot, I might DP another.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go into business with your boys, don't just like all of you get together and be like, hey man, we all like cameras, let's shoot dope shit, let's go into business together. Like, figure out what each person's responsibilities are gonna be. Like, for example, we just started talking about starting a possible production company, but we haven't really talked about like finances, like upfront investment costs, like incorporation, things like that. Like, who's going to be responsible for that? Like, that's probably a conversation we'll need to have at some point.
Yeah, I'm usually the type where I like to have the conversation when those issues come up.
I'm the total opposite because I know those issues are going to come up, and I'm like, I'd rather just be prepared.
Teamwork will take you way further than anything else. Anything else. Again, those people shooting those giant commercials, they're not fucking shooting those by themselves. Those are giant teams.
Yeah, and I think we can both agree that some of the stuff that we've shot the last couple of weeks is way better than what we could have done had we tried to do it all by ourselves.
Yeah.
Because even just look, there's certain things like that we humor each other on. Like, I have an idea for a shot, and I just need extra hands to hold some lights.
Yeah.
And he's willing to do that. He's willing to grab the Astera tubes and run with me while I run on the
Pablo tubes.
He's willing to hold the lights for me or hold the scrim for me while I try out my shots because he knows that I would, I'm willing to do the same for him.
I think the overall point of this video is I'm a ninja. No, I'm not.
That shit.
We're both two headstrong people about our visions, but we're both humble enough at the same time to work together. So we just wanted to share how we're working with each other and the whole logistics and all that, and how it's kind of easy so far.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah, we haven't had any major conflicts.
Yeah. I can't imagine we will. Oh. And usually I can sense when I'm like, oh, this person's gonna be like a fucking douche when it comes to this kind of shit. But I think so far both of us, we're both in a similar state in our careers where it's like, in order to get to the next step, we need a team. And we both are separate strong suits. So this is just to tell you guys, if you find yourself struggling or you find yourself capping out at a certain limit, it's time to humble yourself and be a part of a team.
Yeah, and also like with the videos that you're gonna see from us coming up, the collaborative ones at least, like I think it's just valuable to provide some insight into how they're made.
Yeah.
Like for the Justice one with the Bolt 24 drink, I was just trying to get into the habit of doing things the right way, the way a client would expect me to. So I didn't need really to write a script for it, but I did it because I know a client would expect it. Yeah.
So the shot list, we came here. Chris came with an idea. We bounced ideas back and forth. We wrote out a shot list. And then I went in, we found an app, I made a shot list, and then Chris did it even better. And then he made a script on top of that, which helped to give it to Justice. I worked with Justice a few times already, so I already know he believed in whatever I would ask him to come in on. But the fact that we could give him a script and everything, and it was so descriptive, I think gave him even